Good morning, everybody. I'm Eugene Driscoll of valleyindy.org. Welcome to Navel Gazing, a Valley Indy broadcast. It's about, what time is it? It's about 8:30 in the morning. I thought I would jump on real quick since I've been up all night. My kids are still sick. Doctors told us last week, they'll be fine by Tuesday. They have the flu. My wife had it too. She is still recovering. But I don't know. When my kids get sick, forget about it. My son goes into his lungs and he coughs for like the next decade. So we're on like day 8 of this. And also the other thing that happened, I don't know, it's influenza A. We did get the flu shot and all that good stuff. And influenza A, is that what it is? A and B, right? This is the one that just makes you really tired, according to the doctors. Usually when my kids get the flu, it's just like throw up city for a couple of days. Oh, if you're seeing that STARS thing, you can ignore that. I haven't set that up. It's a way to raise money for the Valley Indy through Facebook. It's a Facebook approved program, but from what I can tell, it's only available on mobile, and it's difficult. They make you jump through hoops to just give $1 to the Valley Indy. So anyway, I don't mean to sound ungrateful, but yeah, it's usually throw up city. But this one is like exhaustion. My son's fever came back. We've taken him to the doctor multiple times. He's hanging in there. He just has this persistent cough that I'm talking like every 5 seconds, a cough that prevents him from sleeping. And they both, out of the blue, on day like 7, developed ear issues. So we didn't know if it was an ear infection, all that good stuff. But you don't need to know all that, right? What I wanted to talk about, last night I did a broadcast and I mentioned that former Derby Alderman Joe DiMartino would be announcing last night at 7 p.m. his candidacy for mayor at Twisted Vine during a sort of post-Christmas gathering by Derby Democrats. Well, then I forgot to mention it actually when I went live because I'm an expert broadcaster. But he did make the announcement, and the video was shared with us late last night, so I thought I would take a moment to share it with you. I uploaded it to the site, to YouTube, actually. I haven't had a chance. I watched about a minute or two of it, so we'll be watching this together for the first time. And let's see, any comments or anything like that? People are probably still on the road. Be careful out there on Route 8. It's foggy and wet out there. But let's see. This is Joe DiMartino making his announcement last night at Twisted Vine in the city of Derby. Now, they don't, the parties don't actually formally nominate a candidate until usually July. That's when they get together and the members of the town committee will vote on a slate of candidates. So I believe, if memory serves, this is definitely the earliest announcement. This doesn't mean at this point, he is going to be the candidate to challenge Mayor Zekin, who's the incumbent serving his 3rd term. Obviously, I think it looks good in terms of the people in the room and things like that, but we'll see what happens. The actual formal announcement or formal nomination comes in July. All right. Shut up, Driscoll. Just play the darn video. All right. The sound quality isn't perfect, just so you know. I'm going to turn it up. Let me turn it up as much as I can. But I think you should be able to hear. Here we go.
To run for mayor of the city of Derby. Why? Because I can and will do better than for the residents of the city of Derby. We need a new way to do business because the Mayhew-Zekin way is not working at all.
Right.
In 2021, I ran a campaign for mayor and lost by 47 votes. It stung, I won't lie. In looking back, I can see I clearly didn't convince the majority of Derby voters that I was the man to lead them into the future, to be a better place than we are in under the current administration. In hindsight, I can see I didn't articulate my plans clearly. Although I knocked on many doors throughout the 3 wards of the city and opened myself to discussions of whatever issues the people behind the doors wanted to have. I understand there are people who didn't vote for me last year because I did not get my message out clear enough. But I can tell you, I want this job, and I'm ready to take it on with the most qualified people I can find to fill positions and change the current city hall culture and the way of doing business. I look at the way they treat people. I see the lack of transparency. I hear the complaints that people can't pay their bills in person or get anyone on the phone because vital positions aren't filled. Let me start today by outlining my priorities for the city as it stands right now. If elected mayor on day one, I will order a full forensic audit of every city book and department. It's impossible to plan for a city and work a budget when you don't know what's available to work with. The finance office has been in disorganization for a long time, and we have been without a full-time finance director since August 2022. It's my priority to fix that. Another day one priority would be to make a list of all vacancies in City Hall, understand the qualifications and requirements of the jobs, and begin a search to find the best, most qualified candidates to fill those positions. One can't run an efficient administration on short staff.
If you're just joining us, I'm Eugene Driscoll. This is valleyindy.org. That is Joe DiMartino, who announced his candidacy for Derby mayor last night at Twisted Vine in front of a group of Democrats at a post-Christmas gathering.
Ask anyone who stood in line at City Hall to pay taxes, only to be told one person covering the office is out that day. It's interesting to note that when I said I would hire a full-time economic developer, the Mayhew-Zekin campaign jumped right on my bandwagon. It took them a year to fulfill that promise. It will not take me a year to fulfill the commitments I make to you tonight. Let me lay out for you tonight the framework of my campaign platform. Priority one, full forensic audit. It must be done. 2, to list open jobs and qualifications and requirements to fill them with the most skilled, capable people who will put the city first and not promote their own agenda. 3, I will immediately replace Walt Mayhew with a chief of staff who understands that people need to be treated with respect and given direction. I will be in City Hall and on the job every day, unlike the mayor is. I will run a transparent administration with an open door policy. I will not hide inside locked doors. I will hold department head meetings every month and require department heads to submit monthly reports to the Board of Aldermen and Alderwomen. One that's very dear to me, I will restore subcommittee system to the Board of Aldermen and Alderwomen. They cannot be informed without these subcommittees. They need to know the information and understand what's going on before it goes to the full board. So we need to bring those back.
Yes.
I will build a working relationship with elected officials regardless of their political affiliation. I will hold quarterly ward meetings to hear and respond to residents' questions and concerns. I will always seek out the best solutions to problems presented. Tonight I come to you for your support. I promise this time together we can change the culture of City Hall and this city. Right now, it's not a good place, and we need to change it. We need to work together to get that change. I'm willing to fight for it again. Another hard year of campaigning, working with every one of you. I truly respect all of you, and I hope I have your support in July when the nomination committee meets, and let's get this city back in where it belongs.
Okay. Now we have, that's a pleasant ad, YouTube. Thank you very much for that. So that was Joe DiMartino making his announcement last night at Twisted Vine in Derby, announcing his intent to seek the Democratic nomination for mayor in the city of Derby and challenging the presumptive incumbent candidate, Rich Zekin, who is now serving his third 2-year term. Zekin and DiMartino squared off in 2021. Zekin won by about 50, just shy of 50 votes. I thought it was 48. That might have been a different number. But you're watching that the first time with me. Excuse me, I have to cough. I didn't have my morning cigarettes and coffee yet. No, I'm just kidding. I don't smoke. But what was I saying? Lost by a slim margin in 2021. I watched that for the first time with you. I didn't get the whole, I thought he was mispronouncing Mayer, but what he's saying at the beginning there was Mayhew Zekin. He's referring to him as Mayhew Zekin. Walt Mayhew is, everybody I think knows him in Derby, right? He's the mayor's chief of staff. Clearly that campaign, it sounds like right out of the gate, they're going to use Walt Mayhew as sort of a flashpoint in terms of the campaign. DiMartino saying himself that the last time he ran in 2021, he never really expressed a platform, but he had some platform points right there off the bat. So that is different than 2 years ago, according to him. And yeah, that last election, as somebody covering it and interviewing the candidates separately, it was hard to tell them apart. I think I don't think I'm being speaking out of turn when I say that. My own reaction is it would be nice to organize some type of debate this year. Again, I'm one person. I would prefer a debate to take place either with me and the two candidates or online with myself and the two candidates. I don't see myself being able to wrangle a debate in person, although that would be great. But at the least, I would definitely be willing to do that with both candidates, presuming those are the two candidates once July rolls around. One thing about like setting up political debates, sometimes it can be an exercise in BS, because this happened in Ansonia big time, where basically either side will use the press and the debate as just a hot potato, and you're used as a pawn. I don't want to be a part of that. I'd rather just set the date and the candidates show up, or they don't. So, but that's neither here nor there. I just wanted to share that video with you. And then let's look at the last two elections. The Secretary of State, if you Google CT Secretary of State and then try to navigate over into elections, it's a little difficult to find, but it is there. They have great election data online. Let's look at the 2021 race real quickly here. Where would it be? Public reporting? That would be it. So I don't know how well you can see this. Feel free to leave comments if you're out there. I see this did display. So in November 2nd, 2021 was the last election. Zekin got 1,430 votes compared to DiMartino's 1,382 votes. So Zekin got 50.8% of the vote compared to DiMartino's 49%. So it was, of course, a close race. And I just want to, who gets the most votes in the aldermen or alderwomen? See there. I see a 500 for Ron Sill in the 2nd Ward. That's where I live. DiGiovanni got a lot of votes in the 2nd Ward. Consider that was his first run for office. I mean, there's more people over in Ward 3. Alderman Sampson with the 700 votes. Yeah, it looks like of all the alderman candidates, Charles Sampson receives the most votes. Again, I haven't heard anything. Derby politically can be a tricky town. I haven't heard anything about any other candidates. There's always rumors and whispers of multiple candidates, which could force a primary. And I've heard that from sort of both sides, but nothing really that I would feel comfortable reporting directly. And it's very early. It is very early, which I guess is another indication of DiMartino's commitment, I guess, this year to trying to win that office. And again, Mayor Zekin's in his 3rd term. I'm going to stop sharing that. So that was the 2021. Zekin got 50.8% of the vote. And let's go back 2 more years. Bring that up. Go back here. Present this. Don't look around my basement too closely, okay? I didn't really check. Could be incriminating things behind me. Sharing that. Okay, so this was November 5th, 2019. That was Brian Capolo, who was a brand new candidate, brand new to local politics. Again, this was before the election before the last one. And Zekin won by 50.6. So I guess his percentage went slightly up from Coppola to DiMartino. But you can see right there in 2019, Zekin got 1,446 votes compared to Coppola's 1,408. You also see at the time Walt Mayhew, the man mentioned several times in Joe DiMartino's announcement there, ran as a Democrat for treasurer and defeated the longtime incumbent treasurer, Keith McLiverty. I think that was an upset. And Mayhew got 52% of the vote. And I think that year, Mr. Mayhew also was elected to the Board of Apportionment and Taxation with another 1,500 votes. So we have an interesting, it goes forward as it is today. We have an interesting race in Derby coming up this year. So it is a political year in Derby. And then just looking real close, I mean, I guess somebody from Ward 3 is always going to get the most votes because I assume that's where the most people are. I could be wrong. But let's see, who was the top vote getter in 2019? Jim DiMartino, Joe's brother, who ran as a Republican, while Joe DiMartino ran as a Democrat. And Joe DiMartino has switched from parties over the years. When we first launched, he was part of sort of Team Stafari and the Republicans in Derby back in the day. We will have Gene Falbo Sosnovich will be working on a story today. Obviously, I played that video. I don't have response as of 8:48 in the morning from Mayor Zekin and Walt Mayhew. I just watched that video for the first time. I did not know that Walt was going to be mentioned that many times, but we will be having a traditional story written later today, where we'll flesh this out and try to find out, is there anybody else running or anybody else thinking about running? Hey, if you know, message me on Valley Indy Facebook and we'll try to look into that as well. But that's really it for me. It's Friday. Just wanted to do a surprise broadcast there. If you're just joining us, rewind and you can watch Joe DiMartino, a Derby Democrat, announce his candidacy for the mayor of Derby. And again, it's very early in the year. The town committees get together usually in July to formally nominate candidates. But I will say in that video, now it was a Democratic get-together, but you saw standing rather prominently, and the person who shot the video made it a point to show them, you had Oni Malerba, who's the Derby Democratic town chairman. You had George Cabrera, our state senator, and you had Cara Rochelle, our state representative. So you had, at least symbolically, and maybe I'm reading into that, they were there standing off in the wings. Is that an indication of support? They would probably say no comment at this point since it's so early, but maybe they would. I don't know. That's another thing for Gene. I'm planning out today's story. That's something for Gene to ask today. Does he have the formal support of the head of the party already? Traditionally in Derby, they wait a little bit until like around July. And then after July, that's when it really gets intense. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about Ansonia yet. There are definitely some rumors. I mean, obviously, I think Mayor Cassetti is going to run for another term. Not sure who the Democrats are going to put up. I've heard rumors, but nothing I would repeat here. And Seymour, I haven't heard a thing about. Anne-Marie Dragonis will be up. I think she'll be running for her second full term. But all right, so it's going to be a fun year. So support the Valley Indy during the Great Give. And if I can get this Stars stuff going, support the Valley Indy during these live streams, because I'd like to be here to report on the winners and losers in this year's municipal election in a way that other organizations might not be able to. So that's it. I'm going to end the broadcast now. Thank you, anybody who sees this now or in the future. And visit valleyindy.org for the latest Valley news and information. Goodbye.